Hi, thank you for returning for part 2 of how I treat my hiatal hernia. So in my last video, I talked about treating my hiatal hernia with a vegan diet and with a self-manipulation technique. So in this video, I'm going to describe my deep breathing technique that I've developed that I receive instant relief from my chronic burping. So again, with a hiatal hernia, you've got your stomach and you've got your diaphragm. And when the stomach becomes herniated, it comes up and protrudes through the hole in the diaphragm known as the hiatus. And so this is kind of what it looks like. And that one-way valve then no longer becomes a one-way valve, and you've got air and acid escaping up through the esophagus. So when we deep breathe, you have to remember, and singers do a lot of deep breathing exercises to strengthen their diaphragm. So why do we get hiatal hernias? Well, the research I've done, nobody seems to know, but basically that hole in your diaphragm where the esophagus comes through and meets into the stomach becomes stretched, can become torn, can become enlarged. Maybe the diaphragm itself just becomes weakened, and so that hole is no longer, tight and keeping the stomach under the diaphragm as it should. So why we get a hiatal hernia, I don't know. Can we strengthen our diaphragm? We can. So through deep breathing techniques, we can strengthen our diaphragm. And when you remember that when you breathe in, when you take a full exhalation, your lungs expand with air. And so the diaphragm moves down to allow the lungs to fully expand with air. And then when you exhale, the lungs deflate and the diaphragm pushes up to help that deflation process, to help the lungs fully deflate of air. Okay? So when we do our deep breathing, when we inhale, again, the lungs expand, the diaphragm goes down. So remember, when the stomach is coming through the diaphragm, ideally, if you could get the diaphragm to move away from the stomach, get the stomach to come down and the diaphragm to rise up, then you're going to have separation, which is what we want. So it's during that exhale, that's key. It's when we exhale, when we fully exhale, when we fully deflate our lungs, that's when the diaphragm is going to rise, 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 rise. Okay, so that's number one thing you have to remember when you're doing these breathing techniques. Number two is you can do the breathing technique with your hands on your stomach, pressing down in that self-manipulation technique that we discussed in my last video. You don't have to, but it does help. Okay? So it's simply a deep breathing technique where you breathe in fully and you breathe out fully. That's all it is. With the exception, or with the addition, that you're going to focus on relaxing three things. You want to relax everything, but here's three things you can focus on. Relaxing the abdomen. So you don't want to be sucking it in. You want to relax the abdomen and let it relax. You want to relax your shoulders. So you don't want to be breathing in and raising your shoulders up and down. You want to keep your shoulders relaxed. And you want to see the stomach rise and fall with those deep breathing. That's key. And then number three is you want to relax your tongue and your jaw. So your tongue and jaw area. So the tongue, the abdomen, and the shoulders. When these three things are relaxed, number one, when the tongue is relaxed, when you do your deep breathing, you will hear a vibration and you will feel a vibration in the back of the neck. Think of it like when you're falling asleep at night and you begin to breathe deeply and you can hear the breath. Or if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go ahead and pretend like you're snoring. So when you snore, you hear and you feel the vibration sensation. That's what we're looking for in this deep breathing, that vibration that you can hear and feel. I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to do it quietly, but hopefully so that you can hear. So you want to breathe through your nose, you want to keep your mouth shut, and you want to create that vibration in the back of the neck that you can hear and that you can feel. Focusing on shoulders relaxed, tongue relaxed, abdomen relaxed. You breathe in fully and deeply, and you exhale fully, deflating the lungs. And that's key. You want to fully deflate the lungs. So even if you have to, exhale fully and then linger for a moment. And what will happen is that diaphragm will come up a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher, and start to separate from the stomach. And this should give you relief from your burping. Now, if you do this exercise on a daily basis and you practice it, that's going to keep your stomach down more and more frequently. So instead of being up in that herniated position, which is causing, you know, that hole in your hiatus to be stretched out, now your stomach's going to be down more frequently, which is going to give your body time to allow it to heal whatever is going on there in the diaphragm. And the deep breathing will strengthen your diaphragm. So I've been doing this technique now for, I don't know how long, I can't remember, maybe 6 to 9 months. And it started out, you know, I would get the relief, but then it was temporary. And I would notice I would start burping again when I was done with the session. Now I'm at the point where my burping is very infrequent. I do have burping that occurs. It's very mild and it's very infrequent. So I'm very happy about that. If I do start to burp or feel that discomfort, and that's the thing I don't think I mentioned in my last video, my hiatal hernia was very uncomfortable. So when I had the chronic burping, I also had a discomfort in my stomach. And sometimes acid reflux. And if any of you have acid reflux, which I know many, many people do, you know what I'm talking about when I describe acid reflux. So the deep breathing, just try to keep everything relaxed. Visualize your organs relaxing. Visualize your stomach. The more you relax, the more it'll stay down in the down position. The more you fully exhale throughout this technique, the more your diaphragm will rise up and create that separation between the diaphragm and the stomach. I hope this helps. I really hope this will help. I've just placed a lot of time and emphasis on trying to heal my own hernia. I've made great strides in this area. I'm very happy with how far I've come. I'm hoping that it will continue to heal as I continue to eat vegan and support my immune system for healing. Continue to do my deep breathing and strengthen my diaphragm. But it's nice to know that whenever I need it, I have instant relief from my hiatal hernia. Now, I just want to discuss a couple more things that I've tried over the course of these last few months that also have been helpful. Number one, and this is going to sound crazy, but it goes with the deep breathing. And it's something I stumbled across by accident. I was congested one night, and one of my nostrils was not getting any air in and out. And I noticed that I wasn't burping. Okay, and so then a couple days later, I wasn't congested anymore, and I tried just shutting one nostril like this and just deep breathing through my nose, and I got instant relief from the hernia, or from the burping. So that's something you can try if the deep breathing isn't working. Just close one nostril and deep breathe that way. Another thing I tried when I was doing the deep breathing and I wasn't getting full relief yet, is I went ahead and took some cotton, some sterile cotton, and put it, just small pieces, put enough in each nostril so that my breathing was then more laborious, and it created that vibration that I was talking about that you can hear and that you can feel. And so I just would breathe. So sometimes in the car, which my burping was the worst in the car for whatever reason. So I kept cotton in the car, and if the burping would come and it was really irritating me and bothersome, I would put some sterile cotton in my nose and just breathe regularly, and that I found really gave me relief from the burping. One other thing that I did, and I didn't do it for a long period of time, I did it for about 2 or 3 weeks, is I went to the dollar store and I bought a super ball, one of these little blue super balls. And I used to wear pantyhose every single day because I was overweight, and it would help, you know, smooth everything out. And so I wore pantyhose every single day. So I would take that ball and I would just pop it underneath my pantyhose right on top of my stomach. And that would put pressure on my hernia all day long so that I would have relief from my burping all day long. This was great and very effective. And once I started losing the weight, because I had become vegan, I no longer felt like I needed to wear the pantyhose anymore. And so I was out with the pantyhose because I can't stand those things. But for about 3 weeks, I used that super ball and it just held my stomach down. It kept it down because it was pressure on it all day long. So that's another tip. The downside to the super ball is people will look and say, what's that? Why do you have a bump right there on your stomach? So, and I would just tell them, you know, I've got a hiatal hernia and this gives me relief. I didn't care. So that was one. Did I want to share two? Oh, well, the cotton is one. Cotton in the nose is one. Very effective. And the ball holding the hernia down. But over time, I've been able to strengthen my diaphragm, heal it for whatever reason through plant-based diet. And I can't 100% say that chronic burping is a thing of the past, but oh my gosh, it's relieved it so much. It's just so incredibly much. I mean, I might go a whole day without burping at all. When I had that ball holding down my stomach, I would go days without burping as long as I was holding that down. So try those. I really hope these things are helpful to you. If they are, please share them with others. And thank you for watching.